Alright, so Claudia, Benetello is multiple activities. So copywriter, journalist, and translator, interpreter, yes. And I think that you're going to talk about Transcreation from a professional perspective.
Exactly.
Right, so please.
Thank you. I'm a self-employed communication professional, and I wear more than one hat, as I want to say. I'm a copywriter, a translator, an interpreter, and a journalist. And today I'm presenting a case study which will hopefully prove that transcreation is in fact the creation of a new original. First of all, what is transcreation? I've come across several different definitions, and I'm giving you a couple of them. Transcreation provides the freedom to address the cultural gaps. It allows the intent of the message to be communicated so that it is positively received by the intended audience, without requiring the local version to remain fully faithful to the words or images used in the original version. And then you also have the British text should read as if it were originally written in the reader's own mother tongue, and give them the exact same experience as the source text gave to readers in the original language. These are only two definitions that I've come across. I've come across several definitions of transcreation, and while I read most of them, I'm under the impression that they place great emphasis on cultural relevance and on fitness for purpose, whereas the creative element of writing that's at the root of transcreation seems somewhat overlooked or underestimated to me. As a copywriter, I both create marketing and advertising copy in Italian, which is my mother tongue, from scratch, which is also called origination, and adapt foreign language copy from English and German, in my case, to Italian. And in my experience, transcreation often results in the creation of a new original, in basically rewriting the source copy rather than just adapting figures of speech or cultural references. And this is a case in point. This is basically the tagline for Norton antivirus in its short form, boldly go, and its long form, go boldly, not blindly, both of which I adapted into Italian in 2014. Although there's a relatively large degree of freedom when it comes to producing a target text that can truly resonate with the target audience, I had to face quite a few constraints, which were mentioned in the transcreation brief. First of all, boldly go was a cultural reference. Secondly, it was a mantra, and there was also a layout element that I should take into account for my transcreation. When I say that boldly go is a cultural reference, I'm talking about this.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission: to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
To boldly go where no man has gone before, and you have it here. So basically, boldly go was part of an introductory speech at the beginning of every Star Trek episode. So I tried to see whether I could use the Italian version of boldly go to keep the cultural reference, the Italian version as heard in the Italian dub series. To my surprise, I just couldn't use it. I couldn't just see why.
Ultima frontiera. Eccovi i viaggi dell'astronave Enterprise durante la sua missione quinquennale, diretta all'esplorazione di nuovi mondi, alla ricerca di altre forme di vita e di civiltà, fino ad arrivare laddove nessun uomo è mai giunto prima.
So basically, the English is saying to boldly go where no man has gone before, and the Italian is just saying to go where no man has gone before. So boldly, that adverb has been left out altogether. So there was no way I could use it for my transcreation. But this was just one of the elements I had to take into account, because boldly go was not just a cultural reference, it was also meant as a mantra. And to explain this further, I'm showing you a short television commercial that Norton Antivirus made to promote this product and to explain what Boldly Go is all about.
If courage is contagious, get bitten. Your boldest days are still ahead. For the boldest future is still unwritten. The boldest story still unread. The boldest gift has yet to be given to the most naive of hearts. The boldest answer to a mistake is one that shows your smarts. The boldest email has yet to be opened. The boldest app has yet to be bought. The boldest file has yet to be downloaded without a second thought. Yes, the boldest life is out there, and as you chase it, remember this. If you go blindly, you'll find trouble, but go boldly and you'll find bliss.
The whole script. So basically, Boldly Go was meant as a mantra, as I said before, an exhortation to live without fear, to be the best version of yourself, to keep moving forward. And in this respect, it had a rather strong aspirational tone that I should try and retain in my adaptation. Thirdly, I mentioned a layout element, and you can clearly see it here. Boldly Go features the tick symbol inside letter O, so the client asked me to, retain the tick symbol if possible, and therefore I had to produce an adaptation featuring letter O. So these were the three issues or challenges that I had to face. And this is how I proceeded. So the first thing I asked myself was, is a literal translation possible here? It wasn't viable because it would lose the effectiveness of the English master and also sound unnatural in Italian. So I had to take a different approach, two creative approaches actually. First I started brainstorming after reading through the brief and produced several options that narrowed down my choices to two. One was a more faithful option which aimed at rendering the same meaning using Italian words from the same semantic field. And the other was my personal favourite, a more creative option, a bolder option if you choose a pun, that aimed at capturing the spirit of the English original using a completely different image. And I'm giving you the English master first, then my adaptation, and then the English back translation so that everybody here can understand what I did. So basically, Boldly Go and Go Boldly were rendered in the same way because this inversion doesn't really work in Italian, in the Italian language. I thought that puntare in alto could be quite effective because on one hand, puntare in alto means aim high and raise the bar, so this would convey the idea of fearlessly moving forward, become the best version of yourself. But puntare is also a gambling related verb, means to lay a stake, which could create a nice contrast in the second part of the long version of the tagline. So basically, if we're saying punta in alto, it sounds like aim high, raise the bar. But if you're saying punta in alto senza rischi, so aim high without risk, but also lay your stake without risk, because you can be the best version of yourself, you can keep moving forward, but because of this antivirus software, you're not running any risks. So I thought that contrast was particularly effective. And this is what eventually became the tagline for Norton Antivirus, punta in alto in its short form, and punta in alto senza rischi in its long form. So to sum up, I'd like to give you my own definition of transcreation, which is writing, advertising or marketing copy for a specific market, starting from copy written in a source language as if the target text had originated in the target language and culture. I rewrote the taglines to such an extent that they no longer look like the original, because they are in fact new originals. But if transcreation is the creation of new originals, this means that copywriting skills are crucial, because, as I said before, the creative element or writing, which is at the root of copywriting, is also at the root of transcreation. So possessing copywriting skills is essential for performing such tasks. Secondly, transcreation is an act of balancing source text, visual, and brief, which makes it a more complex process than just plain translation. And despite common knowledge, transcreation is not about being creative per se, but rather about adapting your creativity to suit a brand's tone of voice and message, and at the same time pack a punch among the target audience. And last but not least, while transcreation is different from translation, it's not an alternative to translation, because when it comes to marketing and advertising copy, the only way to translate it is in fact to adapt it, to transcreate it. And you may be lucky and receive a strapline from a client that can be easily translated faithfully, and you can just effortlessly do it. And there are cases where a faithful translation works, but more often than not, and I hope that this case study that is shown proves it, you just have to draw inspiration from the source text and create